All right, welcome back to ChaiGPT. We
What
are back with Shazad Bhai. He's feeling better.
I was feeling a little FOMO there.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was like,
Missing
doing
out.
without me.
Yeah, man, it was different.
I'm glad to have you back.
Glad to have you back.
Thank you.
With your bubble tea.
I got we have tea.
So we actually liked the format we had last time, where we were asking questions to each other.
Yeah.
And I think for the audience, this would be good to kind of develop who we are and build a relationship with you all to get a closer look into our lives and the things that we're going through and the things that we're thinking through. So I think
and provide, some sort of value add as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I actually have a bunch of questions lined up for the two of you. It seems like a 2v1 kind of thing where I think you have a couple questions for me as well.
Yes.
This is more of like a generational episode where we talk about, where we are in your 40s versus me in my 30s, children without children. So we'll hop right in. So last episode we talked to Fahad Bhai about his sons and maybe some of their experiences.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, Shazad Bhai,
Yeah.
being a parent of two daughters, how has having daughters changed your view on the world?
Yeah, so it's very humbling to have two daughters, right? And I always thought I'd have like a boy and a girl and everything like that, but I have two daughters, and I never imagined I'd have two daughters, and they mean the world to me, and so. You're very protective. I remember we used to go to even when they were little, we used to go to parties and I just watched them like a hawk to make sure that they weren't getting bullied and stuff. I don't know if I'd do that if it was a boy, right? Maybe let them get pushed around a little bit.
Well, it's funny you say that because my response was what's my biggest fear for my boys?
Yes.
Is the fact that I don't want them to be bullied when they go to public school and stuff.
Yeah. And the things that I'm really worried about these days is them fitting in, because I'm seeing a pattern of similar things where they're girls are very cliquey, right? So they have their group of friends and stuff, right? And so as a parent, our job is to help them make really good relationships, find those kids who are kind of on their level. My daughter Isra is very energetic and stuff like that. She needs somebody who's also equally energetic, who can keep up with her. So finding those people that you want them to get to know, because she's got one friend right now and she's very gossipy, and I'm like, is that what I want for my daughter? And what if my daughter trips up and says something and then that girl reveals it to other people? So these are all things that you need to think about nowadays, is just who she's spending time with. And then my younger one, she's just she's got all different types of friends, and I think she deals with things a little bit better than the older one. But yeah, those are some of the small things that I'm worried about.
So do you think these are things that you worry about because they're your children, or specifically because they're girls?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd care that much if it was a boy. I think you just have I remember I was kind of.
Well, I think they say the daughters are closer to the dad.
Yeah, but he just said I wouldn't care as much. You would care.
No,
it's your son. It was your son.
No, I would care.
Shai, is that how you were treated as a kid?
No, I just think that I think boys don't require as much No,
I think it goes back to girls being closer to their dad and boys being closer to their mom.
Yeah, I think
That's
even
true.
previous shows, Muslim men, they watch over their girls, right? And that's not something I intend to change, right? That's not what I'm gonna do.
Right.
It's important that I help them and guide them.
So you would say you softened up a little bit?
Oh, as a man in general, when I got married, I was very immature, very childish.
Oh, really? That's hard to believe.
Not much has changed. What part has
Please
changed?
don't talk to my wife about this. But yeah, you have to change as a human being. As a Desi man, you're taught a certain way, and that and you saw how your parents were and stuff, right? And you think that that's what your life is going to be. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Life has different plans, and then you have to adjust, right? It's just not. And so, I want to make sure that like all the things that I learned growing up and all the hardships that I face, my kids don't face. And so whatever I've learned, I try to pass it on to them and stuff. The only thing is that like, I think they're like like, they're very sheltered and stuff like that. They don't like, my kids don't have a sense of money at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something I'm worried about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just think like they can like they go to my restaurant and just start taking stuff and like eating and like it's cool, it's fine because it's like it's their restaurant and everything like that. But I have to kind of like teach them that this is just not given, right?
It's earned.
Like this is yeah, it's earned. That's right.
No, I think that goes back to like us providing the best environment for our kids. They coming from like a place of privilege,
Yeah,
whether
'cause
we like it or not.
We came from like
We came from struggle.
yeah, for sure.
Well, I know the two of us definitely did. I don't know.
Tofu.
Me and Usman.
I did too.
You were on the
I used to live in a
nicer.
1-bedroom apartment. Like we used to live in the basement of a house, like way back when too. I mean, your struggle I think may have been more than mine, but
No, but what I'm
sure.
saying, like compared to our kids, like they're.
Oh yeah. It's
our
next.
kids
We
have
were
it
not
so
even-
good.
yeah.
Well, that's the one thing that not because they're girls, but as in general, I never like I was constantly thinking about money. Growing in, and I was
that
probably
because-
one of the poor kids in like a very rich neighborhood.
I was gonna say, is that because you're Gujarati?
That
No,
definitely has
it's-
something to do with it.
It's because like when we came here, our uncle sponsored us, right?
Yeah.
We came to here, and he lived in like one of the most expensive zip codes in Long Island, and he's a doctor, and he had like he had Porsches, he had like Mercedes and all that stuff, and so it just like set up like the wrong expectations in life, and then we moved, and we didn't have those things around us and everything.
Right.
But one thing I want to make sure for my kids is that they never have to think about money.
For sure.
Because if you think about money and stuff like that, right, you can't focus on the things in front of you, right? Like if you're worried about like what clothes you're wearing, right, and you're worried about like where like this kid got a Range Rover for his birthday, right? Like you're thinking about these things, then you can't focus with what's
It's
in
so
front of
funny
you.
you said that.
But I don't know. I would counter that. I feel like they gotta understand personal finances,
Yeah.
how to manage, because I actually sat down with Zayan. He's 11 now. I
Yes.
explained to him like, coming out of college, what that would look like. How do you, what is a mortgage? Like
Yeah.
what is personal finances? Just at a very rudimentary level.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about like when they're studying, right? At some point, I will be like educating them on personal finances, even though I don't think I've learned myself yet.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that they don't teach kids this stuff in
100%.
middle school, high school,
it should
college,
be,
nowhere.
This should be a required course for like first year in
Yeah.
college. But your
So-
own financial management is
100%.
something that
So,
people should learn.
because I was never taught this, I know I'm sure both of you weren't taught this, so I want to make sure that I teach that to my boys.
But you know what? I'll give you credit. You're so good at it. Your personal finances, like, and your investments, and like, your penny stocks and the crypto and everything like that. Like, you've like gone like way beyond everybody that like in our circle of friends.
I don't know about that, but
That's cool.
I'll take it. I
No,
guess.
but like you actually like look into it, and your hunches are really good.
His interest, yeah, is good. His Bitcoin.
Well, he came over and he said he helped
Well-
me set up like the Thinkorswim account that one time.
Wait, no,
Oh,
but
yeah.
your predictions for Bitcoin were like spot on.
Yeah, when did I predict? I think it was at 40 something. It's at 53 now.
You predicted it beautifully. Yeah.
That's because I've been studying it for the last 2 cycles.
That's
But
awesome.
that's because you have a genuine interest in it. Like, but imagine if you had that genuine interest and somebody had pointed you out when you were younger.
yeah.
Yeah.
Think about
true.
that, right?
Plus, I think you have to fail multiple times before you can, that goes with anything in life,
Yeah.
right? You gotta fail.
Well,
a
this
few
this
times.
actually kind of rolls into the question I had for you. One thing I'm seeing nowadays is like kids are so different than when we were, right? Because like when I
Yeah.
was younger, right, I was like worried about what I was wearing,
Right.
and I was like shy and stuff like that, right? And I was worried about like what people were thinking about me. The kids who roll into like my restaurants, they're like dressed to like the nines, right? Like cool haircuts and everything like
Yeah.
that. Like they're joggers and stuff. Like, what has changed that has made like Desi kids specifically so independent, so like like unique in a way, right? Like each one of them has their own like look and feel and stuff like. Actually, some of them like look the same when they're in a group. But what's changed that like the confidence and like the style has changed?
So, to answer that question, I think the reality of it is that because we came from more humble beginnings, we never got exposed to the opportunity to really express ourselves via clothing
Yeah.
or shoes or whatever. We just got what we got.
Right.
And now that you and your friends are in a circle of more affluence,
Yeah.
you're seeing children that are privileged in that affluence. And so
Ooh.
you're seeing styles and you're seeing expressions of, oh, I can wear these kind of shoes and that
That
kind
makes
of shoes.
sense,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Whereas, dude, I got whatever the frick we were getting,
I know.
whatever we could find, whatever
Yeah.
we could, I never, so for me, it was never a thing of, it was all about function.
yeah, I remember when I was younger, I had a Boss shirt, like, and I thought it was really cool. It was like way oversized and stuff like that, and I wore it like 2 days in a row. And my friend like this kid like just pointed out, and I'm like, oh, that was a different color version of this or something like that.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But we didn't have that. But now what you're seeing is you're being exposed to more of those, like, affluent children. I guess affluent's the word, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
I mean, like, when these kids come in, dude, they were dropping like
Yeah.
50, $60 on a meal, and I'm
yeah,
like,
that's wild.
what the
I used
I also think like I guess sense of style has changed. Like back in the day, it was all about brands like FUBU.
yes.
You know,
I would say now it's all about brands.
but
No,
no,
but-
but now it's all about like blank.
Designer brands, dude.
No, but
the
I see-
designers are
But
the
I
ones
think-
that are
I
creating.
know, but
I
I
see a
think
lot
it
of
goes
kids
either
wearing
way.
like I
Yeah.
see where a lot of people wearing like blank hoodies with no logos, nothing.
But that's the designer look. You think about the impact of Yeezy, and you think about all these people that are coming out with. Even Adidas, the new basketball shoes they're coming out with.
Yeah.
They have no
all
markings. Just in the
Yeezy
back, they
looks.
have 3 stripes, and that's it. And it's like.
But
they're
honestly,
doing
like,
more
even-
minimalism.
Well, I
Me
think that's
personally-
I think that's a reaction to like losing Easy,
Yeah.
right? Like,
I think it's just aesthetic. The trend in aesthetics is changing.
Actually, the new Lillard looks really nice.
The new what?
The
new
Damian Lillard.
Yeah, the shoes
looks
look
really
really
nice.
good.
Really?
Yeah.
It looks
I
like
have the old
Yeezy.
ones.
It looks like Yeezy design though.
Okay.
But like,
But yeah, to answer your question, that would be I think why we're seeing
So
that more
basically,
so than anything.
because we were struggling, we didn't have much money, and
Yeah.
so we just were whatever we were given, we were given.
We weren't
and-
exposed to that
Yeah,
level
right.
of expression that we are
Yeah.
today. And also, like for example, if you go to communities
Yes.
where it's like what they are struggling communities
Yes.
with people who they're poor, you're not going to see that same level of expression and fashion that you're seeing in your stores or you're seeing in KOP. You're just going to see the same situation we were in.
We were in.
Right? We forget that the just like as the world is round, so is the life cycle of
yeah.
what's the word for it? Like our personal economics. And so as we get through that life cycle, we kind of have a view of the world that's changing.
That's true. Yeah, because like
But we don't realize there's another cycle coming. Where,
that's 100%.
But you know what? Yeah, that's absolutely right. Even like styles and like fashion repeats itself. Now we're
Yeah,
seeing a lot
yeah.
of like the
90s.
80s stuff coming back.
That's so funny. I was gonna wear that same Patagonia like zip up today in a different color. I'm glad I didn't wear it because we'd be just
when you
like.
just matching.
That would have been cool.
So I guess Patagonia is cool,
Yeah. It's so funny because this is
but
like,
they're like good quality.
yeah, they have lifetime warranty
No way.
on all their stuff.
Really?
Anything
Interesting.
happens.
So sticking with the theme of struggling, so from your perspective, being in your early 30s, what would you recommend to like younger generation about like affording a house and buying a property with the current economic situation?
So the scariest thing I think that I've ever been told that I did not understand was follow your heart and what you really enjoy to do. And people always said that shit, right? Like, oh, just do what you love to do, right?
Follow your heart.
But you're like, okay, do what you love to do.
But I think
but
that-
I know if I really want to make it, I have to be a doctor, or
Right.
engineer, whatever. The reason why I'm saying, and I'll let you get to your thought in a
Yeah.
second, but the reason why I'm saying that is because if you love something, you will happily spend the hours to become masterful in that craft. And when you become masterful in a craft, whatever it is,
Yeah.
1, it's beautiful to experience. 2, you enjoy doing it a lot. And 3, there's always going to be a market for it. So for a lot of people going to university now or going to college now, thinking about what to study, what to do, genuinely ask yourself if you enjoy this. But stay away from art degrees. No, like be smart about it, right? Like be intelligent about what you enjoy, right?
Yeah.
Like even if you enjoy, art or whatever it may be, right? You can practice that, you can work on that. Go get yourself a business degree so you can monetize it, so you can develop the business behind it.
But I have like a really bad, or what I think people perceive as like a bad view on like the loan forgiveness stuff. So
What do you mean?
so loan forgiveness is like a pretty polarizing topic, right? Like
Right.
your student loan forgiveness, right?
Oh, right, right.
And so a lot of people are like, yeah, it should be forgiven and this and that, right? And I'm like, well, I went to like relatively inexpensive schools because my parents couldn't afford it, right?
Yeah.
I picked a major which I knew would be like in demand and everything like that, right? And so, like, if those people get their loan forgiven, I have no student loans. Like, alhamdulillah, I have no student loans, right? I should get a check for being like thoughtful and smart about it and everything like that. If those people are getting money and they're just getting forgiven and I get somewhat like, why should I be penalized for like being thoughtful and picking a major that works out well for me?
I don't think you're being penalized.
No, what I'm
think,
saying is that like if I'm not getting money back,
No,
right,
I
then
think-
I feel like I'm being penalized.
Yeah, but
no, but I think it's a completely different perspective, right?
Okay.
it's also, I feel like the economic situation has changed now. Like more and more people are getting laid off. Economy, the inflation is super high. Where when we were coming out of college, things were a lot better.
No, but the inflation stuff is like the
No,
last couple
no,
of
no.
years, right? Before that,
I would say
was
I
not a
would say
big
this
topic.
is you were yes, you were smart and you were in a position that was good enough to be able to get rid of these loans and not have to worry about them, right? So I don't think so. There are, and that's where it becomes difficult because I kind of understand your point, but there's people who didn't give an F
Yeah.
and just racked up loans
Yeah.
because they were like, pay it later, and were very irresponsible about the degree they chose. And then, obviously, because of the degree they chose, they're making 40, 50K a year, and there's no growth in it. And so,
And they'll never be able to pay
and
the
the,
bills.
and then, so they made it. But I think it's very difficult to do this in an equitable way where everybody feels comfortable, where everybody feels like it benefited them, right, in a sense, because there's situations like yours and there's situations of people who maybe racked up 100K of BS loans.
Yeah, but if you're gonna be like a social worker and you went to like MIT or like Harvard or something like that, right?
Right,
and,
right.
and you racked up like $300,000-$400,000 in debt, why should that be my problem?
100% agree.
I think
it's
there
hard to
should
be
be-
equitable.
but
It's hard to be
it's the
equitable.
same logic where these boomers that bought houses back in the day for like $50,000,
Yeah.
and now they're dumping it on these new generations.
For $1 million.
Now they're being penalized. Like like it was just because they were born in a different generation.
No,
they were
but
able
like,
to buy
so
cheaper
if you want to be a
houses.
social worker, go to community college. Don't go to some expensive
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
and if you really care
with-
about it, it doesn't matter where
With
you
loan
learn.
forgiveness, it's hard to be equitable. It's hard.
Yeah.
I agree
Yeah.
with you entirely.
Yeah.
There's way too many variances. I think if you were to simply say, right, like, if not the 100,000,
Yeah.
if someone has a range of 10,000 to 5,000, 10,000 to $20,000 worth of loans,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and they make this much, and their degree is within these selective degrees, then okay, we understand the market sucks, the economy sucks, you're not finding a job, and it's only getting worse, so we'll
Right.
do loan forgiveness. I think there's outliers on both ends that might, I don't know, but yeah.
I mean, overall, I think the value of going to college and getting a degree, I think that's diminishing.
Diminishing, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But I have here's how I would reform it, right? So first of all,
Shot for president.
no, I spent a lot of time thinking about this honestly, just because I had like an argument with somebody online on like Facebook about it. But here's my idea, right?
You're officially an uncle.
Your loans,
Yeah, who's on Facebook?
Your
anymore?
loans should be based on your earning potential, right? So like if you're going into a job,
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That formula is changing.
no, but
The earning potential is going down as we
No,
move
but
ahead.
that's the thing though. Like, why should like if you're gonna become a social worker, you're gonna make $45,000 a year. Then go to a college that will.
I would
support
argue
that.
there's more like where we're headed, and especially in tech.
Yeah.
There's more jobs in social sector than tech sector as we move
What
forward.
do you mean? What do you mean?
I feel like a lot of our jobs are going to be eliminated in tech. That bubble's going to burst.
Why do you think that?
All this AI
No, but-
stuff that's happening.
I see no social. Like,
I mean,
social-
every other month there's like huge layoffs in these tech companies.
So
So like what's gonna come back is like trade school, all those hands-on skills,
yeah,
being a
but
plumber.
those again, those
social
things are
work.
cheap. Those things are cheap, right? And they make money.
Actually,
like on the job.
plumbers and mechanics make a lot of money.
They make a lot
It's
of money.
unregulated.
But that's what I'm saying.
Those are the
That's-
things I love.
But that's the
They
stuff
didn't pay
that's
that
gonna
much
come
to
back.
get their trade, and in fact, sometimes they get paid while they're doing that trade. Right? That's cool. That's okay.
But what I'm saying is that going to school and getting a degree in tech
Yes.
is probably not the same when we were going.
No, so the other
For
thing is
sure.
that okay. So
Right.
the other part to what I said, what I was thinking is that the STEM jobs,
Right.
those should be free
Yeah.
because like China, India are killing us in those things.
Right.
Make those things completely free because we do need those engineers. We need those scientists. We need all those like mathematicians and everything like that because I feel like we have like a drain here.
So I used to work in the university system.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
you did?
I did, yes. I worked at a couple of universities in my undergrad and when I was getting my master's degree. I worked for the universities. And the biggest, and I will stand firm on this claim, the biggest scam
Yes.
is universities.
Yes.
The reason why we can't have free higher education, the reason why we can't reduce tuition costs is because all these major universities are funded through banks.
Okay.
And the banks
And large corporations.
right, and then large corporations. So this is where the game is, right?
Right.
Banks want to make sure that the tuition is high enough that when a student, and they're taking the average student, gets out of school, it takes them a minimum of 5 years to pay off those loans, so they can make their money on the back end. So corporations have an agreement with the banks that okay, within the first 3 to 5 years of someone's employment for the average degrees, not the specialties in tech or doctors, etc. Obviously.
Yeah.
We're gonna agree as a collective that value is 50 to so and so thousand in agreement with the bank. So everybody's on board. The banks are gonna be getting paid slowly over the last next 5 years. They're gonna make their money. We have to pay less for incoming employees,
Right.
and it's a lose-lose for the person who went to university.
And it's funny you say that because the interest that is collected on student loans,
Right.
it shows up in top 3 in
Right,
revenue
right,
for
right.
the U.S.
No
Exactly.
way. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So how can you shut that system
Yo,
down?
but
Well,
even,
the
but,
other thing
but even
is-
but even look at the fact that the medical school student
Right.
residents for the first few years are making what 50K.
Yeah.
But I would argue like
Why is that? Like we
It's
didn't
basically like
think
slave
about
labor.
that.
if
It
you really
is.
think about it.
But I would argue
And
like those type of jobs still require like a college degree. Like if you're
No,
going to medicine.
absolutely. No, I think right now we're in the cusp of degrees required.
Right.
I think we're changing direction in some fields.
Right. Especially in the tech sector.
I would not
I
trust
also-
I would not trust a doctor that got his degree
So,
or got certifications but didn't have a degree.
online on
so just like
Udemy.
just like in healthcare, I think the education system is very bloated too. There's lots of administrative costs and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and there's too much like faculty and like all that. So like teachers are not making that much money, but all these other people are making money. So
I just
there-
hope
there's a-
college. I just hope.
There's like I feel like we should all be us three should be running this. You know, we can get rid of all the bloat and all that stuff.
Yeah. No, but that's the scam of the university system.
Right.
And so, yeah, would avoid that.
I just hope college is free by the time my kids are entering.
Bro,
I
if,
think in
listen.
New York, some colleges are free.
bro, if college,
Europe, all of Europe,
Yeah.
Canada is cheaper,
if
Yeah.
college is free for the IDF, it should be free for us.
right? How is
Just
our
saying.
tax money paying for their education, their
Just
healthcare,
saying,
and their healthcare?
and their healthcare. It's fucked up.
But when we talk about it, it's communism. Oh, you're a communist.
No, it's dude. You're why
Makes
why
no sense.
the fact that our tax money is building a welfare system and an education system in another country.
Yeah.
We're learning very quickly that there's a lot of hypocrisy
Absurd.
everywhere and a lot of paradoxes.
Especially
that
here
don't make sense.
in America.
Yes.
Tons.
Yeah. You want to hit your next question?
Oh yeah, so
Wait, I don't think you ever answered my question. My question was buying a house.
Oh,
I
And you-
did.
You changed it
I?
into
Yeah, we talked about
you changed it into degrees
I did. So the reason why what I was
or doing what you love.
yeah, the reason what I was saying is because if you want to be able to afford a home
Mm-hmm.
in today's economy, you have to be. It's no longer that you work hard as a mediocre person in a mediocre job and be able to afford a home.
Yes.
You have to be
the best of the best.
the best of the best. Moving forward, it's only going to get harder.
Yep.
So that's where my advice is to just focus on what you really love
Right.
and then just become masterful at it. Because it's really going to serve you in the long. And people in their 20s, I feel like, or in university, don't understand that. I didn't understand it when someone told me, right? My grandfather told me this since I was a kid. I never understood what he really meant. But then when I get older, I'm like, oh my goodness. Everything you do, whether you see NBA players or you see tennis players or you see mathematicians or physicians, whatever people, right?
Yeah.
It's all about the hours that you put in. It's all about the hours.
Right.
And
What is the rule? 10,000 hours?
you can become masterful at anything. You have to put in the time.
Yeah.
Like very few things can you ride on talent alone. The hard work has to be there. Even athletes who ride on talent alone had the longevity is built by the work that they put in, not by just that talent alone. We've seen that.
Yeah,
across
Tom
the
Brady,
board.
I think, is a great example for that, right? Like, he wasn't anything
Oh, he
special,
was
but he put in the work in.
He
put in
was
the
a
work.
terrible athlete,
Yeah,
like athletically wise.
yeah.
Right, he was not good. So my question for you guys is, so recently I watched Hassan Minhaj's special. I watched him live in Philadelphia.
Off with the heads,
Is that what it's called?
right? Off with their heads.
Off with their heads.
Yeah,
So-
I think so.
He makes a really good point about being a parent now and then like growing up with the parental influence that we had and how you kind of navigate the things that are of value that you bring along and what things you decide don't serve the future generation. So for you both and your children and your future, what are some of the things that you feel like, oh, I'm definitely going to pull this along from my parents' generation? And what are some things that you just feel like should be left behind?
You want to take that one, sir?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. It's always like, they say, right? You turn into your parent. Like, you
Okay.
end up becoming your parents.
Mhm.
So there's a fine line between, turning into your parent, but like maybe a better version of them, like a 2.0 version.
Okay.
So the one thing that I guess sticks out is just keeping things grounded, right?
What does that mean?
Finding ways to make my kids appreciate what they have
Mm.
rather than spoiling them nonstop. Maybe pull them back in and like, hey, all this stuff that we have don't take it for granted.
Mm-hmm.
It can be taken from you any given day.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to teach that and have them appreciate things more and more. I feel like that's one thing that I can take from my parents because they always instill that in the three of us, and kind of morphing it in my own version and giving it to my kids and teaching them how to appreciate things. I think that's like the biggest challenge.
Teaching them the lessons of the struggle without having to go through the struggle.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
heavy.
it's hard to do that because we are in much better
And you
place than our
want to give
parents.
them the things
Right.
that you couldn't.
Yeah, I want to take them to like do like charitable stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's what I remember just being humbled by that.
Right.
I used to do that, like that Habitat for Humanity stuff.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Yeah,
Feed
it's
Philly.
such a
We used
great
to do
feeling.
Feed Philly. I don't know if you
Philly,
guys.
yeah, I
remember.
did that too.
That
yeah,
was good too.
So those sort of things, like I think, will kind of like guide them in it without like having them to fully experience it,
Right.
like we did.
And actually, yeah, good you bring that up because even talking about like what's happening in Gaza, like
Yeah.
hey, look how good we have it versus look what they're going through.
Right.
So like keeping them up to date with what's going on around the world is also kind of a humbling experience.
Yeah, Hannah just randomly go, Palestine will be free.
Yeah.
She's so
Yeah.
funny.
That's awesome.
But some the good things that I remember about my parents is that like they were like, because they came here, and I hate saying struggling because we keep saying struggling, but I don't think like we were necessarily aware that we were struggling, but they were so busy.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
It had to
Like, and so when you're really busy, there's no time for fighting. There's no time for like disagreements and stuff like that.
Oh, we had fights, but
No, I'm just
on
saying,
top of that, we
I just remember
we
my
put in the
parents
work.
being like completely stable.
That's awesome.
Like,
Good for you.
Alhamdulillah. I remember them. I don't remember.
That's a
many
rarity.
I don't remember many times. Like, I don't remember them yelling or fighting and stuff like that. Honestly.
That is awesome.
But that's because my dad would be working and my mom's like taking care of us and like cooking, cleaning, all that stuff. And so I kind of like, that was, I guess, a good example for me. So those are the things, like hard work is something that I want to like.
That's a good one. Yeah, work ethic was a good one too because my mom she worked and she took care of the house. Like she wasn't a homemaker. She did everything.
Yeah.
She was a hustler.
Yeah.
So
And you have to be. That's the thing. Like we have a choice,
yeah,
right? We could just work. Like last year, like my contract, and I was just chilling for like 2 months. Like I could just chill. Your mom had no choice. She had to work.
Yeah, it's work.
right. And both my parents came from like a very high position in Pakistan.
Yeah.
They both were like VPs in
But
major
that-
banks.
so I don't understand why they moved here.
I know.
My dad was a civil
you.
engineer.
It was the American dream that was sold to them by their family
They
members.
moved here.
For
Well,
us.
that
You-
too.
For us.
Listen,
That was their sacrifice.
You're lucky because I know I have cousins in Pakistan right now that maybe study the same thing or in the same field as me.
Yeah.
But the opportunities that are
Yeah.
there provided
Yes.
are
Compared to here.
like here I can literally develop my own business, have my own contract company, which I do,
Right.
and I can just go and find contracts and build jobs and do whatever
Isn't that crazy? Like they literally like picked up and moved for better opportunities for us.
for us.
Right.
That's exactly what my parents said.
Exactly.
They said we did it for
They
you.
sacrificed
So
their
like
everything.
my
Yeah.
dad was like a civil engineer, right?
Mhm.
And he's a civil engineer, but he was he was working on dams in India.
Mhm.
Okay, we had somebody who used to take me to school. We had housekeepers.
Yes.
We had a company car. We had a company flat. Like all these things, right? Flat's an apartment for anybody who
Yes.
doesn't know, right? And I'm like, dude, we had it so good. And then we come here. It's like
Start from ground zero.
and then we had like so much. The other thing is like we were surrounded by family here.
Mm.
That's the biggest thing that like you lose when you move here.
Right.
Is that support system and everything like
Definitely.
that, right?
Yep.
And so like that was like a shock.
Your
Yeah.
parents
So
said-
our parents moved here for literally moving here and because if we ever did succeed over there, we'd be limited,
Yeah.
right? As a Muslim in India, there are certain posts that you will never get
You'll
to.
never get.
But I can argue that that's probably the case here, right? Unless, and here we talked about being exceptional, right? But you have to be an exceptional on a different level where you're undeniable
Right.
Yeah.
to that. Like one of like a couple of friends that we have.
So let me ask you guys then to the second half of that question.
Yes.
What are certain things that you've seen from your parents' generation that you don't want to, that you know you're leaving in the past that didn't serve you and won't
I
serve your
have
children?
very
So
specific
one
answer for
one
that.
big thing that
Other than
I
child abuse,
child abuse. Well,
I can't see that.
beating kids.
I think that was needed for me.
I was gonna say the same thing.
But I feel like some
100%
kids,
deserved.
some kids
Yeah.
are need to be,
Like
set straight.
everything. Anytime I got a beating, it was warranted. To be honest,
It worked
Yeah,
out, right?
yeah.
Alhamdulillah, we're in
Yeah,
good position.
Yeah. But I'll tell you
Because
one example, and it's just come in my head like a couple. Even though like I just told you, my dad just asked me like, "How's cousin Burger
Yeah.
going, beta?" Right? He told me very young that he had seen like a peer sap, like one of the religious leaders in Islam, right? And he told him that because my dad is so nice, he could never do business with anybody. As in, like if somebody owed him money, he would have difficulty asking for that money.
Mm.
And I see that in him. Like he's too nice of a person.
Yeah.
He needs to do like a 9 to 5 job, do his thing, and do a great job with it, right? And he does. And so he said that you're like me. You will never do well in business, is what my dad told me. And so I took that to heart. I'm like, well, it's a peer stuff. He's a religious leader and stuff, right? Like he must know stuff that I don't know, and maybe this was done for that. And so like I had this big fear of failure because of it. I'm like, what if he's right, and I'll just keep, I'll try to do it and everything like that. And so this week has been kind of like a 360 coming, or 180 or whatever. It's been something.
180.
Yeah,
Where I had an idea, and I planned it out, I executed on it, and it's been working out well.
Yeah.
And it's me running my own business, so it's just and then I do the consulting stuff too on my own as well.
Right.
And so that's been really interesting. Those are the sort of things like where just because somebody tells you something, don't take it, and like just encourage your kids no matter what you feel about it, as long as it's not harmful to them. Right? If it's something harmful, you want to obviously detract them from doing those things.
Our parents were very
Superstitious in a way?
I was they were like straightforward to a point at times. Too straightforward to a bad. Yeah, what do I say? What I'm trying to say is like sometimes their honesty
Yeah.
was detrimental
Mm.
because maybe they didn't believe in our vision or
Yeah.
believe in us, but
Yes.
we should have been believing in ourselves.
Yeah. But they also, I think they like were.
They had the fear of
in certain
poverty.
things they want. In certain things they didn't want to. I think like address it. I think they wanted to be like on autopilot. in a way,
Right.
And so like if you're trying to like do your own business and stuff like that, you fail, and then
Your whole family pays
then
the
you're
price.
like, oh, that guy was right, right?
Well, I think it's also.
But the people don't realize, like, when you're
Yeah.
doing business, it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail multiple times.
Unless you
Yeah.
have a family that you need to care for and you pay.
Exactly. Like when
Yeah.
like for in their positions now they become very risk averse
Yeah.
perhaps
Yeah.
because of
And my dad was on the Bunga team, bro. He could have been like, who knows, America's
Bacha. He could have been
He
the
That's
could have been
awesome.
India's next top dancer. Or whatever.
Bacha back in the day.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. So what do you think are something that you probably will leave with your parents and not take to your boys?
That's a good one.
The beatings.
That we addressed.
We are
He's keeping that.
I think just like I guess it's more cultural rather than just specific to my parents.
Okay.
It's, everyone's like filling people's ears, like your papa or your aunt or your uncle,
Ooh.
and influencing like your family structure or your core family values. Like, oh, don't do this because this person did that, and just gossiping around, about the community, how it may impact you in a negative way. I'm like,
Oh, like low kya
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
low
I have-
cacking,
then
exactly.
I have something for that.
yeah, low cacking, and then it ends up impacting you.
Mm.
It's like, why should I care about, what's going on with someone else's
For sure.
son?
Or what people will think about whatever you got going on.
Right, exactly.
So one specific thing, like which relates to what you were saying, is
Yeah.
that like my family members, when they have a conflict, they don't talk to each other.
Yes.
They don't resolve things. Like I'm very direct. If I have an issue, I'm going to talk
Me
to you,
too,
and we're going
right.
to get over with.
Mm.
Either we'll still be friends, or we're just going to cut ties because it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
But like they will actually like have an argument, right, and then like not talk to each other for like a year or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's another cultural
true.
thing.
That's
That's a cultural thing.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a generational thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some families are just very bad at
I
like,
witnessed it in
communicating
my
and emotions
family,
and
too.
dealing with that.
Right.
I would
That's something I would definitely like get out of here.
leave.
Yeah.
But like my extended family, like my mom's or my dad's sister wouldn't talk to each other, like all over because some misunderstanding.
Did you have an issue
So-
where in your family where like your parents didn't necessarily like stand up for like your family or something like that in a
Oh, they didn't
situation?
stand up for themselves or their
Or they're
family.
standing for
Yeah,
themselves,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
It was better to stay quiet and keep the rishta
Yes.
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
to make a big deal and risk.
Yes.
kind
Yeah,
of
like
people.
making a big deal was like frowned upon.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. The least.
But
It's
you're right. Rather than address the issue, they would just brush it under the rug.
Yeah,
Or-
but
or
that,
just
that
avoid
just,
it.
That just like that you're just building resentment. at
Yes.
that point,
Yeah,
right? Like,
And then it'll blow up in some other
and
birthday
then-
party or some dinner.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens
Yeah.
for sure.
yeah, we've had so many incidents where like you're like people don't talk to each other, like, and I'm like, life's too short for that.
Yeah,
For sure.
Right?
for sure.
Like if you have an issue, just talk it
Just
out.
talk it out,
let's
yeah.
let's figure it
Try
out.
your best.
And for the most part, if you talk, like you'll at least feel better
Right.
at the
right,
end of it.
right.
You may not resolve everything. but
So
you
some
may
of
feel
that
better.
toxic stuff in our culture, I would like to leave behind.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you guys this. This is the last question. We'll end on
Sure.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no offense, right? But you guys are the new generation of uncles, right?
Yes.
Yes. we
How
are.
do you feel about that? Because I feel like I'm right in the middle where I'm an uncle. Like to your kids, I'm an uncle.
Yes.
Right? To your kids, I'll be an uncle.
But you're like the cool uncle.
But I don't have like kids myself yet, and it's like I don't feel like I'm completely in the uncle realm yet because I don't have kids. And I'm also close enough to where I'm like I know uncles, like mushroom uncles. So being that new age, how do you feel about that? Because I definitely see a difference in you guys, but maybe I think to myself that the uncles from the past also thought that they were cool.
Like a lot of people that I meet in the community, I
Yeah.
talk to, and then I end up finding out they're my age. But then when I'm talking to them, they sound they're 10 years older. I'm like, so it's all
Yeah.
about like
That's the
spirit,
case.
how you are as a person spiritually, and like your energy,
Right.
mentality. If you act old, you're gonna look old. Like we have friends.
Okay.
You look super old.
We have friends. I'm not gonna name names, but it's more about how you perceive yourself. If
Sure.
you're always down on yourself, if you act older than who you are, it's gonna show.
So how do you feel then, like being in that position?
I don't know. I feel like me and Shah, we act we act younger than who we are.
But
I guess.
do you think that the uncles that we grew up watching did the same thing? We just didn't know that.
I don't know. I don't think It's just different times, man.
Okay.
Like I can't imagine a 40-year-old uncle back when I was like 15 playing video games.
That's
Can you
true.
imagine that?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, like we play video games now.
Yeah, so I feel this like very like sense of duty to kind of like guide people. Like I have a lot of younger cousins, right? And so I feel like I need to kind of fast track them on things where I really struggled and stuff like that. But they're so good, man. Like they're so well put together, these kids, that they figure things out even without me telling you. But I definitely feel the need to, like, if I know that they're about to do something, like let's do something a little bit different, or give them some examples and stuff like that. I feel that like a tremendous amount of duty to do that, because I don't want people to struggle.
That's awesome.
I don't want them to go through like the same stuff as I did. In terms of like maturity and stuff like that, I don't know if I'll like. I think at 70 I'll be playing video games and watching like anime.
I'm the
and
same
stuff.
way. Like
Yeah, I like what I like, and that's one thing that I just want to apologize for.
right.
Like you
Yes.
when it's just I like having good relationships with people, and
I don't ever want to get to a point where I'm talking to myself like, "Oh, you're 40 or you're 50 now.
Yeah.
Stop doing these things."
Yeah.
If it makes you happy, who gives a shit?
yeah, I think that's the thing of the past, right? Like
But there are people like that. Like, oh no, these guys are playing video games. They should act their age.
That's true.
Or like our age.
My partner at Cousins Burger wore like colorful shirts and like ripped up jeans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And,
But if that makes them happy, who
And
gives
he's
a
like,
shit?
yeah, he's like cursing and like we're doing stuff. Like, it's awesome. Like he's just very like he's just himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sounds like a chill dude.
Yeah, just himself. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't
No.
think.
But I think that's the new norm now, though.
So the new age of uncles is reformed, is fresh, and with the times.
I would still say
I think this is all related. Like when we talked about those young kids being individuals, like I think as you get older, you're continuing to be an individual, figure out like.
Right.
The one thing that I'm doing more this year is I don't want to limit myself.
Yes.
I just want to be like, hey, this
Same here.
thing I didn't think I could do, let's go try it.
Yes.
Right.
I talked to you about like doing comedy at some point.
sure.
I'm like, I'll just write some stuff down. Let's see what happens and stuff. Like I love comedy. I watch it all the time. Like, and maybe I make people laugh.
It's funny you said that because that's my goal this year too. It's like explore whatever you want, take whatever risk you want.
Yeah.
And be okay with it.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't work out, who gives a shit?
Because you're gonna learn more
At least
about
you tried
yourself.
it.
Yeah.
You're gonna learn more about yourself. You'll be able to push your boundaries. You said that, right?
The new-
You said that comedy was a way to get over a lot of hangups, right? Something like that. You said.
Yeah, I push myself in that. I always push myself the fear of, like whatever I know that I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
Just push myself towards that so hard to just bust through it. I think that's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Wow, so I like the new age of uncles. This is cool.
I think we just like we went into like a deep dive. And it's so funny because like our topics were different, but they were all kind of related, which was weird.
All
Yeah,
connected.
yeah. Because it's all about our lives and everything. So.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So you guys good then?
Yeah, I think this is a good.
All right.
good
It was
episode.
great.
All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of ChaiGPT. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Help us grow. And thank you very much. Bye.
See you guys.